Hi, my name is Jose Ortega, and thank you so much for being here today. I'm going to tell you a story, one that's not from a textbook, but it's from the soils of my own life, of the dirt roads, the sunburnt skies, and a long shadow that was casted of a small West Texas city, or town, some might say. My mother, she immigrated from Mexico with nothing but a prayer in her heart and grit in her hands, and she picked melons in Pecos, Texas. She worked the land as if the land owed her something. My father, he was a construction worker who had callous hands, and at home, instead of building things, he broke them. When my dad hurt, we all hurt. So when I tell you I'm from a broken home, it's not metaphorically, it's literally. Broken windows, broken doors, broken sheetrock, and a noise that was so loud that it was so difficult to hear my own thoughts, like white noise as you slept. But today, I don't ask how I survived. I ask, how are other children that grew up like I did not thriving, and in some cases, not surviving? So let's get started. The real America is we have so many children in crisis. 12 million children are in poverty. 1 in 7 experience abuse and neglect. 1 in 5 grow out without a father. 2 of them are more likely to commit suicide than to be employed. So I want to tell you about an illusion. We love to say that America is the land of opportunity, and it is. But opportunity without access, that's an illusion. For boys of low-income homes, prison is more likely than college. One mistake can cost you anything, and it becomes a sentence. What do I mean by that? Opportunity without connection isn't freedom. That's a sentence we've imposed on vulnerable children. The ladder out of poverty is longer, has slicker rungs. The system judges outputs like violence, what you've done, and we throw money at these sentences, but we don't tackle the wound. So there's a science, and that's one thing that we all do not like to talk about, and that's trauma. It doesn't just bruise the heart, it actually rewires the brain. Toxic stress strains the brain with chemistry permanently changing the way you think. Planning, trust, self-control, all that becomes extremely difficult. And these kids, they're not misbehaving, they're just surviving. So what does trauma teach you? It teaches you to keep your head down, to hide behind your thoughts, to lie before you're asked, to run before you're seen, smile behind really intense feelings because you don't want to be a burden to someone, because your brain's been rewired. That's not a rebellion, guys. That's survival. So what I identify is that there's a broken strategy in our society that we're seeing here locally and across the United States. And we're asking the wrong question. Instead of asking what's happening to those kids, we're not asking what happened to those kids. So we have the wrong responses. We suspend them. We put them in places that is isolated from other kids who are thriving. And eventually we forget them. So I'm here to tell you today that we don't fix by punishing them. We don't heal by pretending and ignoring that it's not there. And I think here's the part that's just to stop us all cold. The kid that we're neglecting, the kid that we're labeling, the child that we forget to really reach out to and connect to, we medicate them, they get labeled, and they all become the men and women that we fear. We see it in the news. We see it with school violence, with shooting. We see it with domestic abuse. And I'm here to tell you today that when they lose, we all lose. When one child falls, we all fall with them. But I'm not here just to shame you, because I'm also someone who's learned to contribute to what we can do. I'm here to tell you that connection is the antidote. They don't need another app. They don't need another program or a speech to lift them up. They need a face. They need a person to show up to meet them where they are and connect with them. Presence is someone who stays when the whole world has walked away. Being seen is to say, you are not what hurt you. You are much better than that, and I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm going to sit here with you. Connection is not charity. Connection is strategy. Because we don't fix people by fixing the problems. We feel them by healing and staying with them. And I don't say this particularly as an opinion. I say this from really the essence of my own life. Whenever I was in high school, it was my 8th grade teacher that looked at me and said, you know what, Jose, you're smart. It was my friend Josh, whenever home was chaos and I was afraid to go home because of all the violence and abuse that I was experiencing, who said, hey, bro, you can sit here, sleep here, we're going to study math together, and we'll go on about our day. It was a foreman in my work who saw me getting upset because of how I dealt with my anger that looked at me and said, hey, Jose, you know what? You're not like your dad. You can be so much better. Every time someone chose to believe in me before I did, the code in my mind was rewritten line by line, and my identity changed. And don't take my word for it. There's actually organizations in our society that are doing a really good job dealing with these issues. One in particular is Friends of the Children. They have a human or adult that stays with a kid for 12 years, mentoring them throughout that process. And here's what they find. 92% of them, they enroll in college or secondary post-education. 83% of them earn a diploma or a GED. 93 of them remain outside of the justice system. 98% of them, they don't have kids when they're teenagers. Every child deserves to feel loved, supported, and their vision is that one day, every child who needs someone has a friend. So I'm here to tell you, what I am here to tell you is a call to action. And that call to action is, whose pain are you willing to sit with? Stop asking, what cause can I donate to? And don't get me wrong, there are great programs here in Midland, and there are great programs that do great work. Start asking, who can I sit with? If you're the coach, stop investing in just the win, invest in the kid. Be the employer who hires the person with a bit of a scarred background that gives them a chance. Be the neighbor who doesn't just leave but knocks, shows up with a plate of food. And a simple plate of food or a simple thank you is enough to connect with someone and show them that someone's out there looking out for their best interest. These kids, I helped them in the Dominican Republic in 2016. Their parents had abandoned them. They were physically abused. Their moms were fighting men that kept terrorizing their community. They were fighting for food. And we showed up to show them we loved them, to show them that they had something to eat. And they escaped and went off to school and became contributing members of society. When we help people like this, for every dollar we invest, we see $11 of financial impact in our society. So as I'm here today to testify on my own experience and what I've shown you today, is that the opposite of broken isn't fixed, it's connected. Thank you so much.